Welcome back, everyone, to another video. All right, Vegas, it's your turn. So, the Vegas Golden Knights a while ago have clinched the playoff spot. This is the first video on teams in the West that we have made what the heck was that? That we have made clinched videos on. I have no idea what that English was, if you can call it that. Anyways, moving on now. Vegas, when they clinched, they had played 76 games. They have a 47, 22, and 7 record for 101 points. They have scored 253 goals, and they've only let in 217, and they are fourth in the NHL. They have a 23, 15, and 1 record at home, and then they are 24, 7, and 6 on the road. Their home record is a little bit interesting to me. 15 losses at home is interesting, especially for a team that oh yeah, they're a highly profiled Western Conference team. They've lost a lot at home, and then as well as that too, their road record's really good. So I guess that kind of just evens itself out. But anyways, I mean they're still all right at home, but it is a little bit of a concerning stat. So Vegas, they're back in the playoffs yet again. They got that full season of Jack Eichel. They've been healthy for the most part. But yeah, I do like Vegas overall this season. It definitely points to a pretty bright direction for Golden Knights hockey to come. And with some of the guys that they have playing, it proves that they're kind of the Carolina Hurricanes of the West, and you don't need points to be an excellent team. Or you don't need one specific superstar flying ahead and being a really solid point scorer. So you got Jack Eichel. Of course, he's the number one leading goal scorer, but he's not putting up numbers, at least not this season, that he put up in Buffalo in previous years. And that kind of goes to show that, when you're in Vegas, for Eichel at least, he has a lot less pressure on him to really carry this team. So I think that definitely plays a role in why he doesn't have that big of a point total. But as well as that, too, he's been hurt. 63 games played, 27 goals, 35 assists for 62 points. Again, I think that's the same stat line along the lines of where Sebastian Aho is currently right now. So definitely a pretty good standard statistic there. So he's not doing too bad. Chandler Stevenson, who is second in goal scoring, is actually a point behind him with 76 games played, 14 goals, 45 assists for 59 points. Stevenson has established himself as a pretty solid center throughout the years in the NHL, 100%. Ever since I'd probably say 2021 of those Cup playoffs, he's definitely established himself as a very solid center as a whole, and I definitely like him with that Golden Knights team. You got Jonathan Marchessault up next, who I have a jersey for. It's not on display right now, and I'm not wearing it. But Marchessault this season, 70 games played, 26 goals, 28 assists for 54 points. But yeah, Marchessault I actually think is one of the very few players from the original Vegas Golden Knights when they were created in 2018 to be still on the roster, which is pretty shocking, honestly. When you really think about it, that is pretty shocking. But yeah. Fourth in scoring is Riley Smith. I don't know why my eyes look like I was crying. I wasn't, I promise. Smith this season, 72 games played, 24 goals, 27 assists for 51 points. Riley Smith, another really solid winger for Vegas this season. I've always liked Riley Smith. I feel like he's getting up there in age as well. I feel like I thought he was like 39 with John Tavares. I don't know why 39 is a weird number, but anyways. Next up then, in fifth in scoring is William Karlsson, who obviously isn't scoring at the level that he was originally with the Vegas Golden Knights, but Karlsson, 76 games played, 14 goals, 35 assists for 49 points. Obviously that first year where he had like 40 goals, not going to happen again, but definitely still not a bad season whatsoever out of William Karlsson. And then I'd like to mention, too, that I didn't want to throw him in here but not include his stat line. Captain Mark Stone has been injured, and that definitely plays a big and crucial role in why I'm a little bit worried heading into playoffs, but apart from that, I'm not too worried. Stone this season, 43 games played, 17 goals, 21 assists for 38 points. So Stone has been out for a while, and I'm really wondering, well, could he still come back and play in the playoffs? It's definitely possible. Is it likely? I don't know. So we'll obviously find out there if something amounts of that. But really, to be honest with you, I haven't heard of anything that says that he's gonna come back soon. I'm probably wrong, but I really haven't heard much of anything to say of that. So yeah, then as well as that too, I guess we'll go over the injuries that they have right now. So Mark Stone, of course, as I mentioned, Robin Leonard, which hasn't proved to be a problem. Now they have had goalies come up in and out of the system. I've seen so many goalies come up for Vegas this year, but really. I guess that is one of the wild cards, but it hasn't been a problem. And then Nolan Patrick there too. Patrick doesn't surprise me. He's been out the entire year. Just keeps on getting hurt. I have his jersey, which is probably why he's hurt. Yeah. Anyways, we'll look at their. Actually, I got some other players that I want to talk about. That I do want to give shout outs to. Phil Kessel, one of the big ones. Kessel, obviously a prominent player in the Ironman streak. Hasn't scored lately. He's actually been pretty cold. But I did want to give a shout out to him. Nicholas Waugh, definitely another solid player there. Came in that Eric Holla trade, I believe, back in the day. And then Keegan Colasar there too. And Michael Amadio are two players on that bottom six that nobody mentions or nobody talks about. So big shout outs to them. As it goes for their defensemen, you start off with Alex Pietrangelo. Pietrangelo's having a pretty solid year, and nobody's really talked about it. 67 games played, 9 goals, 41 assists for 50 points. I believe I actually had Pietrangelo in my Norris conversation last season. I don't know how he made it. If it wasn't him, it was definitely Shea Theodore, who's missed some time this season, which definitely affects your stat line. But Theodore this season has been solid. 54 games played, 8 goals, 33 assists for 41 points. Another pretty solid and pretty prominent defender there for the Vegas Golden Knights. Then he got Brandon McNabb. 76 games played, 1 goal, 16 assists for 17 points. I was kind of looking down the list. No other defenseman that really caught my eye with Vegas. But yeah, I do like their defense as a whole. And I think definitely like Pietrangelo and Theodore are really going to be carrying this team down the stretch when it comes to playoffs. 100% in my opinion. As it goes for, we'll do deadline acquisitions and rookies next. There isn't much here, but there is still some stuff to talk about. Ivan Barbashev, who honestly, when they traded for him, I thought was a really good deal, and he's been solid with Vegas. 17 games played, 5 goals, 8 assists for 13 points. So again, another really solid deadline player that has played pretty well out of the gate, and we'll see how he does come playoff time, but I feel like he will be a really prominent player if Vegas makes a run here. Paul Cotter was a rookie that I believe I talked about in my rookie spotlights video, but he hasn't been prominent lately, but he's still been all right. 54 games played, 13 goals, 5 assists for 18 points. Another really solid rookie there. We'll see what he does come playoff time. There's some other rookies there too now, like that Zadorov kid who scored like 3 goals against the Wild. Came out of nowhere, no idea who that kid was. And then all of a sudden he puts in a huge performance with Minnesota. So we'll see there what happens with him. And obviously some of the rookies there too. There's going to be some rookies that will get a shot, especially if Mark Stone doesn't come back. There could be a slot there in that 4th line or 3rd line center role that you're kind of wondering is really up for grabs. And then, of course, there's some other slots there too that could be taken by other players. But yeah, we'll see. As it goes for up next, the goaltenders, you got Logan Thompson. So there's 3 goalies who have come up through Vegas' system. Of course, there's likely been others. I believe there has been. But the main 4 have been obviously Logan Thompson to start off with. 37 games played, 21, 13, and 3 record with a 2.65 goals against average and a .915 save percentage. If Thompson doesn't get Calder consideration, I will be shocked. Like, my mind will be blown that he doesn't get considered, at least for the Calder Trophy. He very well could win it, especially if I mean, he doesn't have like insane goalie stats, but really, it's probably going to be Beniers. But he should be a finalist nonetheless. Honestly, your Calder winner could come out of the Pacific Division, and all three finalists could, too. Realistically, like you got Stuart Skinner, you got Logan Thompson, you got Matty Beniers. Like you got Matthias Michele, you got Wyatt Johnson, you got so many rookies out here from the West that the West is a young, really young conference. So we'll see what amounts to that, and they could be the next uproar when the East starts dying down a little bit, but that'll never happen. Anyways, next up, then you got Laurent Brossoit. That kind of took a turn, but Brossoit 7 games played, 6-3-3 with a 2.44 goals against average and a .920 save percentage. Brossoit, a lot older, has a lot more experience. I definitely like him a lot more. I'm not sure who I would go with come playoff time. There's a lot of options you got here. But I think the one that they probably could go with when it comes to experience is Jonathan Quick. Quick with the Golden Knights since being traded there in 8 games played as a 5-2-0 record with a 3.53 goals against average and a .896 save percentage. He had one pretty brutal game, which kind of dubbed down his stats, but he still is a really solid goaltender, and he has plenty of experience. And in last year's playoffs, when the Kings played the Oilers, Quick looked very good. So we'll see what amounts to that, of course. And then last but not least, Aiden Hill, who I don't think will get any time. 16, 7, and 1, a 2.50 goals against average, and a .915 save percentage. You go back far enough in the channel's history, you would know that I'm a big fan of Aiden Hill, or I was. But now, he's just another goalie for me, honestly, and it sucks, but just don't have the fandom I used to have for him. But yeah, you got 4 goalies there, so you got some deep goaltending, and that's not something a lot of teams can say. Definitely. So I definitely like their odds. It's probably going to be a Quick and Thompson tandem, but you do got Brossoit, you do got Hill as 2 other options there. So I do like Vegas's chances as of right now. When it comes to playoff opponents, they're gonna finish first in the Pacific. I'm not sure if they have clinched. It's like 1 in the morning right now, so they might have, they might not have. But I do like their odds at clinching the Pacific Division. So they likely will be first or second in the Western Conference. So they'll either play Seattle or Winnipeg or Calgary or I guess Nashville, but it's probably going to come between Calgary and Winnipeg. So we'll see. But yeah, I do like their odds heading in the playoffs. I really think this team could go far. Honestly, I feel like they could be a team this year that really shocks people. And last year, I feel like really pissed them off. So we'll see if this season they can get the revenge and playoff Jack Eichel. We'll see what happens. But anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments below how far Vegas will go. Thank you all very much for watching. We shall see what amounts of Vegas. But yeah, next up we got Tampa. They'll be a fun team. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.